The research project, which I entitled The Intellectual Heritage of the Pioneering Lasallian Filipino Philosophers, is a reflection actually of the contribution of 5 great Lasallians who are considered founders or pioneers in this field of Filipino philosophy. So all of these 5 are now retired faculty members, but their contributions must be remembered always because these great Lasallians contributed a lot to the development of Filipino philosophy. I'm talking about Dr. Emerita Taquito, Brother Romualdo Abulid, Dr. Claro Sinisa, Dr. Florentino Timbresa, still the editor-in-chief of Malay Journal, and Dr. Rolando Grip Aldo. So I studied all the writings practically, or the majority of the writings, and I analyzed what will be their lasting impact on Filipino philosophy. Emerita Taquito is a lady philosopher. She considered herself as a pioneering teacher in philosophy. For me, the project of Emerita Taquito was to demolish the dominance of Thomism in the country. Because during her time, there was only one philosophy in the country, and that was Thomistic philosophy. So it was her life project to convince everybody that there are other philosophers that can be more useful than scholastic and Thomistic philosophy in the country. Dr. Abulid was the student of Emerita Taquito in UST, and when Emerita Taquito transferred here from UST, Dr. Abulid also followed her. And it was in this university that Dr. Abulid matured as a philosopher, as a thinker. It was unfortunate that he retired early from this university. But even here in this university, his contribution was also very impressive. He considered himself as the guardian of the advocacy of Emerita Taquito to cultivate a culture of intellectual tolerance in the university. Abulid also was an advocate of Kantian philosophy. He envisioned himself to be the foremost Filipino expert in the philosophy of Immanuel Kant. And for me, his contribution is in the field of critical Filipino philosophy. Sinisa was a religious pastor from Silliman University. He is an expert in logical positivism and linguistic analysis. So his kind of philosophy was a rather obscure for many Filipinos, but he was brave enough to think that he is a cosmopolitan thinker. So he did not consider himself as a Filipino philosopher. He considered himself just a philosopher. And he was bold enough to say, this is my field. I want to be the expert in this field on equal footing with Western or foreign thinkers or foreign philosophers. Timbresa is a philosopher who considered himself a founding pioneer in a very specific area in Filipino philosophy, and that is the interpretation of Filipino values, Filipino identity, Filipino culture. Rolando Grip Aldo is like Sinisa, who is also a specialist in logical positivism and linguistic analysis. But aside from being an expert, because he was trained under American teachers in Mindanao, aside from that, he was also a historian. So he was trained in history. So he is an expert in the interpretation of Filipino intellectuals, like Quezon, like Jacinto. Grip Aldo is an expert in that field. So you have here 5 different Lasallian thinkers. Each of them was successful in establishing its own philosophical area of research. And I am very convinced that if we reflect back and take a look at their works and analyze their works, and I think we will not be repeating their mistakes. We will not be repeating what they have said already. And as Lasallians, their thoughts will give us confidence to philosophize some more and advocate for the further development of Filipino philosophy.